much for joining us. It has been yet another hectic week, from wildfires in California to continuing problems in Puerto Rico to more horrifying details concerning Harvey Weinstein. And it's not just his behaviour that was troubling, it's the way that people around him excused it. And perhaps nothing is more emblematic of that than this story told by actress Angie Everhart.
She says while she was sleeping on a boat at the Cannes Film Festival, Weinstein broke into her room and masturbated in front of her.
I told people on the boat, I told people at the dinner I was at, and everybody was like, oh, that's just Harvey.
What the fuck? So everyone knew, and they just went with it. Oh yeah, Harvey's gonna burst into your room and masturbate. That's just Harvey. He's like a sex criminal version of the Kool-Aid Man. And while most now have condemned Weinstein's behaviour, incredibly, some initially tried to defend him. From Oliver Stone, whose first response was, it's not easy what he's going through, to longtime friend Donna Karan, who took an incredible tack.
How do we display ourselves? How do we present ourselves as women? What are we asking? Are we asking for it? It's not Harvey Weinstein. You look at everything all over the world today, and how women are dressing and, what they're asking by just presenting themselves the way they do.
Excuse me? One, that is absolutely appalling, and two, how would Donna Karan know how women are dressing right now? It's not 1993. Her most recent work included this hat. Well, howdy there, Your Excellency, if it ain't Pius the Kid, the cowboy pope. Now, both Stone and Karan did later apologise for their remarks, and just yesterday, the Motion Picture Academy made a big announcement.
The Board of Governors voting overwhelmingly to immediately expel the once powerful and feared producer, saying the era of willful ignorance and shameful complicity in sexually predatory behavior and workplace harassment in our industry is over.
Yes, finally, the group that counts among its current members, Roman Polanski, Bill Cosby and Mel Gibson, has found the one guy who treated women badly and kicked him out. So, congratulations, Hollywood. See you at the next Oscars, where, and this is true, Casey Affleck will be presenting Best Actress. So for now, let's move on to President Trump, the silver lining for anyone who died in 2015. He spent his week continuing efforts to sabotage Obama-era policies, beginning with the Affordable Care Act. First, he signed an executive order intended to make it easier for people to buy cheaper, shittier healthcare plans, which, based on his signature, he did by putting a pen in his mouth and having a seizure. But more importantly, he also decided to eliminate $7 billion in subsidy payments to insurance companies, subsidies which help offset healthcare expenses for around 7 million Americans and reduce premiums for many more. And the results of that could be severe.
The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office has estimated ending these subsidies will push up premiums by about 20% in 2018 and actually add $200 billion to the deficit over 10 years.
Yes, Trump's plan is going to make insurance more expensive and lose the federal government more money. It's a strategy that you can read about in his book, The Art of Being Bad at Stuff, parentheses, including book titling, no end parentheses. And even members of his own party know this is bad politics. When he's raised the prospect of cutting off these subsidies in the past, some have managed to talk him out of it. The problem is, Republicans are playing checkers and Trump is playing checks. That's right, checks. The game of stress-eating Chex Mix because you do not understand your job. Because that was not the only case this week where Trump acted without seeming to fully understand the consequences.
It is official. President Donald Trump has said that he will no longer certify that Iran is complying with the nuclear deal or that it is in the United States' national interest. This goes against what his own national security team and all the allies and global powers that signed the deal actually believe.
Exactly. Donald Trump seems to be pretty much alone on this. His defense secretary thinks Iran is in compliance, as does his Secretary of State, and I'm pretty sure that Mnuchin does as well, but I'm so blinded by that guy's movie star handsomeness that I can no longer hear anything he says. Prime beef right there, right? Prime beef, right? Am I right? The guy's hot. You don't mean it. Now, thankfully, Thankfully, Trump's move does not instantly kill the deal. It's a little complicated, but basically, Congress passed a law where the president has to recertify the deal every 90 days. No other nation has a requirement like this because it is a stupid idea. And now it goes to Congress, whose options range from doing absolutely nothing to restoring sanctions, which could blow the whole thing up, and that would be insane, because essentially everyone, including the agency whose job it is to monitor this, agrees that Iran is in compliance. So why is Trump doing it? Well, on Wednesday, he explained his, what we'll call, thinking.
I think it was one of the most incompetently drawn deals I've ever seen. $150 billion given. We got nothing. We got nothing. They got a path to nuclear weapons very quickly. And think of this one, $1.7 billion in cash. This is cash out of your pocket. What? You know how many airplane loads that must be?
Okay. For a start, stopping Iran getting a nuclear weapon is not getting nothing. It literally makes life on Earth safer. As for the money, we didn't give it to them. All of it was theirs to begin with. It was just frozen under sanctions that we've now lifted. Or, in the case of that plane load of cash, it was money that they paid us for military equipment in 1979 that we never delivered. So he's wrong. He is just wrong. He just said a string of things that were factually inaccurate. And you all know what this means. Oh, yes. We got him. We got him. We got him. Yes. Wait. Stop. We didn't get him. Stop. I just got a news alert. He's still the president. He's still the president. We didn't get him. I'm sorry. It turns out nothing matters. Nothing matters anymore. I'm sorry. He didn't know what he was talking about. I thought that was meaningful. So, as I was saying, the Iran deal now goes to Congress, but they can't renegotiate it because the deal isn't just between the US and Iran. It's between all of these parties, and they have been pretty clear where they stand.
EU leaders are defending the current agreement, and the UK, Germany and France all say they are committed to the deal as is.
Yeah, of course they don't want to reopen the deal. That's not how deals work. If you buy a lamp on Craigslist for $40, then the deal is one person gets $40, one person gets a lamp. Also, one of you will get murdered, but figuring out who gets murdered and how is really the joie de vivre of Craigslist. And as Iran's foreign minister points out, this decision may severely limit the ability of Trump, or indeed any future presidents, to make deals from now on.
Nobody else would trust any U.S. administration to engage in any long-term negotiation, because the length of any commitment, the duration of any commitment from now on with any U.S. administration would be the reminder of the term of that president.
And that is a huge problem. Countries need to know that America will honour its agreements, because if they don't, that's going to be an issue no matter who that next president is, whether it's President Warren or President Kaine or, let's be honest, more likely President Donald Jr., followed by President Eric, followed by President Jared and Ivanka. There is no reason to expect that that won't happen. So this Iran deal decision is equal parts dangerous and bizarre. Trump is asking Congress to fix a deal they don't realistically have the ability to fix, fixes, incidentally, that may violate the deal itself, which already has a process for restoring sanctions if Iran doesn't comply, which, remember, everyone agrees that they are doing. And he also threatened to pull out of the deal himself, even though his Secretary of State had already said that he wouldn't. But who knows if those two are even speaking anymore, considering Tillerson apparently called Trump a fucking moron, and Trump publicly challenged him to an IQ contest this week. Look, as foreign policies go, this is incoherent. You can't call it realism or idealism or neoliberalism. You can barely even call it foreign policy. Honestly, the thing it's closest to is a scared monkey in a submarine randomly pushing buttons. And sure, that might be fun to watch until it suddenly hits you, oh shit, we're all on the submarine with that fucking monkey. And now, this.
And now, it's on. And that means only one thing.
Oh, boy. Pumpkin spice latte. This is a whole season and a cup of coffee, isn't it?
Yeah, pumpkin spice latte.
It is now officially pumpkin spice latte time.
Right.
Try to walk in and get a pumpkin spice in the summer. You can't get it.
No, you can't. Pumpkin spice latte.
And the pumpkin spice latte, have you had it? Holy cow, that one sent me to the moon.
Jim Cramer loves pumpkin spice lattes.
You know, I'm waiting for the pumpkin latte, and I'm trying to lose weight, so I had to stay away from it. The pumpkin latte.
Shut up! Just drink it! Pumpkin spice latte!
Forget about the leaves. As soon as Starbucks has that pumpkin spice latte, or PSL.
Good one, Steve. PSL.
When they take away the pumpkin spice latte, I cry a little.
Don't cry, handsome actor man. Pumpkin spice latte will return.
Pumpkin spice lattes are delicious. They seem wholesome, and after all, they're only a beverage. But are they also racist?
Fuck you! Pumpkin spice latte!
By the way, love your pumpkin spice latte color tie.
I've got so much to tell you on that. I was so ahead of this curve, but I don't even want to go. Pumpkin latte
Is it
features
X-rated?
are big.
Is it
No, it's not X-rated.
Wait, what? Did he fuck a pumpkin spice latte? Pumpkin spice latte!
The bigger deal is this new maple pecan latte. All right, so this is going to push the pumpkin spice to the side.
Fuck maple pecan! Pumpkin spice lattes forever!
Moving on. Our main story tonight concerns Equifax, the company whose name sounds like a theatrical production in which Daniel Radcliffe plays a horse that fucks a fax machine. Now, Equifax is one of the big three credit reporting agencies, the companies who keep financial data on all of us so that people like lenders and landlords can decide whether or not we are trustworthy. So Equifax controls some of our most sensitive information, and about a month ago, we learned this.
Breaking news from the credit monitoring company Equifax. Cyber thieves making off with private information of 143 million Americans, nearly half the U.S. population.
It's actually worse. It's now 145 million Americans, and I've got good news and bad news there. The good news is that by private information, they don't mean your Google search history. So nobody yet knows about the time you searched for Wario porn, parentheses, real, or world's richest dogs looking for assistance, or can loneliness cause the farts? But the bad news is the information they got could well be all this.
It's your name, social security number, birth date, driver's license, and addresses where you lived. Information that is mostly permanent unless you're in federal witness protection.
Wow. OK, so that does sound bad, but here is a simple solution. Just move 145 million people into the witness protection programme. That means Joneses, you are the Thompsons. Thompsons, you're the Campbells. Campbells, you're the Mendozas. Mendozas, you're the Joneses. Wait, hold on. Joneses, you shouldn't be there. I made you the Thompsons. No, Thompsons, I made you the Campbells. Campbells, you're the Mendozas. Mendozas, why are you there? You should be living in the Joneses' house in Phoenix. Oh, no, I shouldn't have said Phoenix. Oh, God, the Joneses are dead! The Joneses are dead! Forget the whole plan, I was just trying to help! I'm sorry for trying! Oh, they're dead! And I know there might be some younger people watching this saying, well, hold on, who cares? We're the first generation to routinely send pictures of our junk to each other over the internet. Why should we give a shit about someone seeing our social security numbers? But you should know, criminals can do a lot more with that number than they can with a picture of your dick.
This information is going to be sold left and right on the black market. People are going to be able to open up credit cards for the rest of your life once they have that information.
They can go out and purchase a home in your name. They can open bank accounts, take car loans.
Someone who has your social security number could actually take a job, they could file taxes, and even claim your kids as dependents and be gone with your refund before you ever actually file a tax return.
No, the tax benefit is the whole point of having children. Without that, all you're left with is your actual children. Which, you know, ugh. The point here is, it's a huge problem. And in any other era, this would have been the biggest news story for a month. But now that every day's headline is simply the words, everything batshit bananas again today, it slipped under the radar. But it is worth asking, how the hell did this happen? Because the short answer is, the people in charge have done literally everything wrong. And let's start with just the way that Equifax told us about the hack. In early September, their then CEO, Rick Smith, a man with a face and name so bland he may as well be called Human Person or Frasier Rerun, he issued a taped apology, but his remorse seemed a little less than heartfelt.
On July 29th of this year, we discovered that attackers had gained unauthorized access to certain Equifax data files. This is clearly a disappointing event and one that strikes at the heart of who we are and what we do.
Holy shit. Rick Smith is so alarmingly mechanical, you probably have to put him in rice every time he gets wet. Now, notably, he mentioned there that Equifax learned about the breach on July 29th. But even more notably, that video was uploaded in September, which is, and this is true, after July. So Equifax knew about the breach for nearly 6 weeks before telling the public, and they claim that they needed that time because the investigation was complex and time-consuming. Although that's not all that happened in that time span.
3 Equifax executives sold nearly $2 million in company stock days after the data breach was discovered.
Wow. Selling stock before the public knows there's a problem is one of those things that looks suspicious whether or not you're actually doing something wrong. It's like walking into a petting zoo with a bib on. What exactly are you planning on messily devouring in there? And Equifax defended that, saying none of the executives in question, including their chief financial officer, knew about the data breach, which raises another question. How is that even possible? Did they just ignore emails with the subject lines, breach, following up on breach, where the fuck are you, breach, breach, breach? And just spoke to you in person about breach and you just stared blankly at me and then said, I'm going to order from that salad place. And if you are getting frustrated already with this kind of incompetence, you're going to need to pace yourself because this story gets a lot worse. Apparently, there were multiple points where this hack could have been prevented, and one of them is incredible because Equifax were alerted by Homeland Security back in March that they needed to fix a critical vulnerability in their software. But as lawmakers discovered at a recent hearing, that's not what happened.
There was one person, apparently, who forgot to tell somebody that they had a piece of software that needed to be patched.
Yeah, it is not ideal that a company guarding such valuable information leaves something that important down to one person. It's like finding out that Chase Bank has a big red button labelled lose everyone's money, and the only thing stopping anyone from pushing it is Frank. And look, I love Frank. I love the guy, but what if he has to pee? And I want to tell you that this is an anomaly, but Equifax has had multiple headline-grabbing breaches over the years, and that is not even counting smaller incidents like this.
I checked my credit report the other day online with Equifax. That was it. And next thing I know, I have 300 pieces of mail sitting in my mailbox.
Every single one of these is addressed to her, but they're not hers. Instead, she got other people's credit reports. Now, names, social security numbers, dates of birth, current and previous addresses, bank and loan account numbers, all stacked up on a kitchen table in Biddeford.
Yeah, I mean, that's not great, is it? And it really should have set off red flags at Equifax when hundreds of different credit reports were being mailed to the same address. What exactly did you think had happened there? That every single Fraggle checked their credit at once down at Fraggle Rock? Down at Fraggle Rock. Now, very nice. And I know that other companies have had breaches, but none remotely as damaging as this new Equifax one. Because remember, this isn't Target exposing customers' credit cards. This is compromising social security numbers, the things that thieves could use to open new credit cards in your name. And if your information was stolen, which remember is about a 50-50 chance, it could haunt you forever.
You don't change your birth date. You don't change your social security number. Those who have been jeopardized by this hack will have to protect themselves for years until they're dead.
It's true, and just think about that. There is only one other thing that you have to constantly protect yourself from until you're dead, and that's fucking death. And you would hope that Equifax would do a decent job of mitigating the damage. After all, they did have nearly 6 weeks to work on a response, but instead, their fuck-ups continued. For instance, they created a website for concerned consumers to go to, but then this happened.
The site that Equifax started is called Equifax Security 2017, but a developer named Nick Sweeting wanted to show how easy it is to create a similar fake site, so he did. He called it Security Equifax 2017.
Exactly, someone created a fake site, and if you're thinking, well, who would be dumb enough to fall for that? Equifax, that's who, because they tweeted links to that fake site at least 8 times. Despite the fact that site had a couple of tiny clues that it might be fake, from the headline reading, "Why did Equifax use a domain that's so easily impersonated by phishing sites?" to the fact that when you clicked on their frequently asked questions, this happened.
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you
Well played, pranksters. You have my respect. But look, don't worry. Equifax says that they are tightening up their operation. And to see how well that they've done on that, you can just go to equifaxfraudprevention.com, not because it's their site, but because it's our site. We bought it 2 days ago, and if you go there, you'll find the message, how are we still able to do this? Why haven't you learned anything? But wait, because there is even more. Because Equifax also offered consumers a year of free credit monitoring, but when people tried to sign up for the service, they noticed something.
Guess what? You lock into Equifax terms of service when you sign up for it, which means that you can't sue the company. You've got to resolve any disputes in forced arbitration.
Exactly. You'd be giving up your right to sue. So legally, your best recourse at that point would be shaking your fist at the heavens while shouting, Equifax! Now, they've since rescinded that clause, although many frustrated people are now signing up for third-party credit monitoring services like LifeLock, who've been advertising everywhere. And they have seen a real surge in business in the wake of this breach. Although, if you are considering LifeLock because you are mad at Equifax, there is something you're going to need to know.
According to filings with the SEC, LifeLock purchases credit monitoring services from Equifax, and that means someone buys credit monitoring through LifeLock. LifeLock turns around and passes some of that revenue directly along to Equifax. Is that right, Mr. Smith?
That is correct.
It's true. Some of the money that you pay to LifeLock goes right back to fucking Equifax, which could only be more infuriating if you then found out that the rest of it goes to Toys for Tods, a charity that purchases sex toys for grown men named Todd. Buy your own sex toys, Todd. We can't carry you on this one. And look, Equifax connections aside, LifeLock has had repeated issues itself, including settlements with the FTC and a truly disastrous ad campaign a few years back.
I'm Todd Davis, and I'm here to prove just how safe your identity can be with LifeLock. That's my real Social Security number.
Yeah, LifeLock's then CEO, Todd Davis, actually put his real Social Security number, 457-55-5462, on a truck and billboards. For a time, it was impossible to escape his Social Security number, 457-55-5462. And that was a very cocky move, and one that resulted in him having his identity stolen 13 times. And I'm guessing that the defence for the people who took it was, I didn't steal his identity, I literally got it off the back of a truck. So to put it mildly, LifeLock may not be your best solution to the Equifax crisis, which brings us to the question, what is? Well, consumer advocates told us that the one big step everyone should take is to go to all three large credit reporting companies, that's Equifax, Experian and TransUnion, and freeze your credit. That way, no one can access it, including you, until you unfreeze it. Now, the companies also offer their own credit protection products with names like Trusted ID or Credit Lock Plus. But they are often more expensive and offer fewer consumer protections. So if you need a way to remember this, locks are something you don't want. Think of Justin Bieber's dreadlocks. A terrible decision to be avoided. Whereas freezes are great. Think of this tiny penguin losing its frozen mind. See? So to recap, locks, oof, freezes, whee! Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing on this. Freezing and unfreezing your credit can cost money, which will go back to these companies, because seemingly they just can't fucking lose on this. And if you need any more proof of that, on the very same day the Congress was yelling at Equifax's former CEO, it emerged that the company had just been awarded a $7 million contract by the IRS to prevent fraud, which led one senator to make a pretty brutal comparison.
You realize to many Americans right now that looks like we're giving Lindsay Lohan the keys to the minibar.
I understand your point.
That was the pause of a man thinking, do I let that pass? Do I correct him on how to pronounce Lohan? Or do I double down and pronounce her name Lingonberry Lahoney Baloney? And you should know that IRS deal has been suspended. Not cancelled, by the way, just suspended, and that might make you angry. But the problem is that anger won't have much impact on Equifax, because they make most of their money selling our data to businesses, like banks. So in their eyes, we are not the consumer, We're the product. To think of it in terms of KFC, we're not the guy buying the 10-piece buckets. We're the fucking chickens. So for the time being, businesses are the only ones who can exert influence here. And as one colourfully dressed expert pointed out, that's not going to happen anytime soon.
I haven't heard any big company come out yet and say, we're not going to use Equifax anymore for their credit scores. So far, everybody's been quiet, and I don't know what they're waiting to hear. This is outrageous. They should be done, but I bet you, because it's America, they'll be okay.
Here's the truth. That angry business casual farm animal on Fox Business is talking sense. And that sentence alone shows just how bad things are. So in the long term, there should clearly be major reform to this industry and how it's regulated. But that is going to take time. So until then, you need to freeze your credit reports with all three of these companies and only unfreeze them when you need to apply for credit. And because the freeze option can be hard to find on their sites, if you go to our Twitter feed, we will give you the exact links to do that. And when you do, they will give you a PIN number that you need to unfreeze it. So do not lose that number, or at the very least, make it something memorable. I don't know, like 457 55 5462. But not that, because of course, that's Todd Davis's Social Security number. And now, this.
And now, New York City mayoral candidate Bo Dietl makes a splash at this week's debate.
We begin now with 1-minute opening statements, beginning with Bo Dietl.
First of all, I gotta say, go Yankees! I was mugged 500 times. I was stabbed. I was shot at. I was hospitalized 30 times. What'd you make last year? I made $1.8 million, okay? If I had my head in a potato field and I popped it out and listened to this mayor, I'd say I'd vote for him too. He hired that nincompoop Punty from Maine. The guy was guarding some mooses up there.
Mr. Dietl, we're going to you first.
Well, you know what?
Hold on, I haven't asked the question yet.
I'll have to go to Rikers Island with the mayor. I'll lock up for 2 days, me and you. General population.
This is just one of the issues in which our mayor has...
What is that friggin' wall you put up around Gracie Mansion? What are we hiding? Is it the Berlin Wall?
We're going to cut your mic off if you don't follow the rules.
Well, let's follow the rules.
Okay.
My question is this: is to the assembly member.
What about me?
Sorry, I get only one. Only one.
Turn off Dietl's mic. I cut off your mic, Mr. Dietl, because you keep interrupting, and we'll do it again if you continue to do that.
You said that a, quote, Muslim guy who works for the state was to blame for your problems. You referred to your attorney as my, quote, Jewish lawyer, and you said that you knew that you had lost your court battle when you were trying to run as a Democrat in this race because the African-American judge you said looked like Bill de Blasio's wife, Shirlane McRae.
First of all, you're wrong on that, what you just said. All I said was the judge was very familiar looking as the mayor's wife with two beautiful eyes and a smile, and they look very similar. I never used the word African-American.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. No, just turn off the mic. Just turn off the mic. Thanks for watching. Please vote next month. Have a great evening.
That's our show. Thanks so much for watching. We're off next week. We'll be back October 29th. Good night.
Pumpkin spice latte!